Nikola Tesla, undisputedly one of the best inventors and minds to have ever lived. Today on Conspiracy from the Underground, we're going to talk about Tesla's plan for worldwide wireless energy, why it failed, who the outcome benefited, and what we all potentially lost.
Born in the Empire of Austria, now located in Croatia, Nikola Tesla would go on to study math and physics at university before dropping out and immigrating to the United States in 1884. It would be at that time where he began working for the modern wizard of Menlo Park, Thomas Edison himself. The two colleagues would often butt heads on a multitude of projects, but none more prolific than the difference between alternating and direct current. Later in life, Thomas Edison would fearmonger around the high voltage necessary for alternating current, unfortunately resulting in the public live electrocution of 52 animals.
Not only did Nikola Tesla never stoop so low, but alternate current was already proving itself. It could transmit power far longer distances than direct current with the same input.
Didn't he only ever use demonstrations for himself when it came to the safety of alternating current?
Exactly. Any sort of display that he would ever put on was a spectacle, something that would encapsulate anyone watching and make them, put them in a state of wonderment. Versus Thomas Edison was more of the scared straight sort of approach when it came to trying to disprove alternating current.
That's a good show. I like Scared Straight. But it sounds like Nikola Tesla almost created magic shows with science, for all you Christopher Nolan fans out there.
This sort of battle between alternating and direct current would eventually culminate in what I consider one of the greatest examples of a modern day wizard battle.
Are you telling me like Harry Potter, Nikola Tesla is Harry Potter and Thomas Edison is Voldemort? Is that what you're trying to set up here?
You could definitely see it that way.
I can get behind this setup. I'm intrigued now. I'm intrigued. Let's build out this story. Later in 1901, Nikola Tesla, aka Harry Potter himself, began construction of the Wardenclyffe Tower project with some early investors, including George Westinghouse and the banking business tycoon J.P. Morgan Chase.
As time went on with the project and bills racked up for Nikola Tesla's investors, the promise seemed to grow further and further out of reach. Not wanting to go bankrupt like their partner George Westinghouse had during the project, J.P. Morgan would pull all his funding. Now, the tower was demolished, but today the site where Wardenclyffe Tower was is now the Tesla Science Center.
The reason the tower wouldn't have necessarily worked is because Tesla had the misunderstanding that the earth and air could act as perfect conductors. His plan was to harness the Earth's natural magnetic field to send this electricity and these instant messages very long, vast distances. We now know today that the opposite is true, that Earth and air are actually very good insulators that inhibit the flow of electricity to effectively pass from one place to another.
Now, where the undertones of this whole story start to get a little bit sinister is when you really look at a couple of things. One, Tesla was an inventor considered to be out of time by most. Two, J.P. Morgan's investments in the oil industry and previously in Thomas Edison's corporations were very undershadowed when it came to this whole deal and pulling funding from Tesla's project. And three, the long-term repercussions that would come from this entire decision and the malicious patterns of alternative energy suppression that would come from it.
I mean, haven't we seen energy suppression before?
That's what I'm saying.
Even more modern day examples?
That is my point that I'd like to make, is that this to me is one of the first great examples of someone coming up with a free energy idea and being snuffed out by big oil. Like I said, while this might not be a completely open and shut conspiracy, there are certainly coincidences when it comes to the patterns of certain individuals wanting to protect their investments.
Man, this is really sad. I was hoping for Harry Potter to win in the end, but it really didn't.
In declassified documents from the CIA in 2008, we can actually see that the government has a majority of Tesla's plans seized from his hotel room that he passed away in.
Is there a reason that they don't disclose that to the public? Get some of that tech back? Maybe
Well,
Apple can actually make a revolutionary upgrade to the iPhone with some of Nikola Tesla's tech?
Well, actually, the reason provided in the document is that many of those patents still hold scientific and military significance.
Of course, it's always military secrets. That's the only reason we can't know anything.
So in the end, I guess the villains won, but with knowledge, there is still power.
Stay skeptical.
Stay curious. On November 14, 1974, a fiery object in the sky was witnessed crashing into Earth near Bald Mountain in Lewis County, Washington. Within a week of this event, 2 parties in the area reported encountering a strange creature, horse-sized with tentacles and an antenna, and most notably, giving off a strange green glow like a neon sign in the fog. This week's cryptid is the crazy critter of Bald Mountain.
The glow was also spied by Mr. and Mrs. Roger Rambeau from Tacoma. Such reports attracted the attention of authorities. One Lewis County Sheriff Deputy William H. Wister was the man for the job. He began investigating these reports, but was soon halted by the Air Force, by NASA, and some say a mysterious black ops organization with no insignia.
This sounds pretty familiar. I mean, kind of fits some of the themes we were talking about earlier with maybe...
Do you think Will Smith is involved?
I think that's what we're getting at. Men in Black coming to scoop up an alien that got out of its cage, or like this webpage even says, the editor makes a note here.
Because we gotta trust the internet, of course.
Yes. If any of this sounds fairly familiar, as the editor makes a note. As for the crazy critter itself, this episode reminds them of a storyline greatly favored by a newspaper cartoonist from 1996, which the captain of a flying saucer is reprimanding, sort of scolding one of his shipmates, saying, "You fool, you know darned well that you should always keep the ship's mascot on a leash when you take it for a walk," which, again, cute picture when you try to imagine some aliens strolling through, walking their ship's mascot, and then all of a sudden the Men in Black need to get involved because some tourists managed to catch a glimpse.
You know, I think this just goes to show that not every conspiracy theory has a sinister tone to it.
No.
It was just a cute mascot alien thing walking around, taking a stroll, got a little loose like everyone's dog does once in a while, and the Men in Black had to come in and take care of it.
Yeah, and if we put a picture up on screen, this creature looks actually fairly adorable.
Kind of like a Pokemon.
Oh, for sure.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta stay curious.